Okay, my party people. I'm very excited. This is my very first official podcast. I have posted with me talking on this little microphone friend that I got for very cheap, but this is my first official, like, I'm doing it, like, this is it, episode 1 of the podcast. I'm very excited. I am also very nervous. I love talking, but I'm talking to myself, and seems almost like slightly on the edge of like I am a crazy person sitting in a corner talking to myself, except for I'm video recording it for all of you to see. So take that how you want to. Anyway, I am very excited. I'm going to take this first episode and just give my testimony and my story, who I am, a little bit more about myself, so you know who you're signing up to watch. So my name is Madison. I am 28 years old. My mind always goes to 25 though, which is unfortunate because I am not 25 and I haven't been 25 for 3 years, 3.5 years if I'm being honest. I'm starting to get wrinkles. See, I'm getting wrinkles here. I had 2 gray hairs yesterday, and I couldn't pull them out because apparently gray hairs are 10 times stronger than regular hair. I have postpartum hair that falls out in clumps, but my gray hairs, they are staying strong. So anyway, I'm very excited. This is great. I have wanted to do this for a really long time. My daughter Riley is here, so hey, can you go downstairs? It's still quiet time. It's still quiet time, dude. 20 more minutes, okay? And then you can come up and we'll play together. I know, it's so long. Quiet time is long. I love you. Okay, sorry. Kids don't like quiet time. I don't really make them do a nap anymore, but they do have to like play quietly, do like blocks or something, and they don't love it. They like to be able to be right with me at all times. So anyway, yes, I'm getting older. I'm 25. I'm a mom. I have 4 beautiful kids that I love, and I will never be left alone during these podcasts. So I will be stopped in the middle of them. I will have my kids interrupt, and that's totally okay. That's my life. This is what I'm doing right now, is momming, and I love it. I have 4 kids. I have 3 girls and a boy. We got our boy last. We committed, full commit. We have 4 now, and I'm pretty sure we're done. We did think last month that I was late, and I was slightly concerned that I was pregnant again, but I'm not. So congratulations to me and my uterus, and all of the nausea that I have for so many months, and my husband has to take over everything when I'm pregnant. I am very loud. I'm Italian. I was born to a really big family with a ton of people. If you wanted to be heard, you had to scream over everyone at the Sunday dinner table with the craziest story, and maybe 5 people heard you. That was how it was. So I grew up in a Christian home, but I also grew up with a very, very, very unique testimony. And so I wanted to share that today because I get a lot of people telling me that I will never understand anyone because I am a white privileged woman, and that is just untrue. I was not privileged growing up. We were very, very poor. We had very little to our name. My mom was about 18 years old when she was with my dad. And I'm not going to use names. I understand that like I am not by any means famous and probably will not be famous, and that's fine. But I'm going to try to not use any names in my testimony or in anything unless like the person wants to come on and talk about something. So like I would like to eventually have my sister come on. She's one of the people that experienced this life with me, and like we experienced this very similar testimonies. So it would be interesting to hear from her, but I'm not going to use her name unless she agrees to like come on and talk. Before I get deep into my testimony too, let me say a few things. I wanted to start this podcast because for the last 5 years of my life, I have felt like God has been calling me to do a podcast. And I don't know why. I've never felt like God really talks to me. I grew up Baptist. We don't do that whole God talking to you in dreams type of thing. But I just felt like I had not really like experienced anything really strong, like pulling me towards something besides the idea of that I should start a podcast. And I don't know why. I don't understand why, but for some reason, God, I feel like has for a long time put it on my heart that I wanted to do a podcast. I used to tell my family growing up, God didn't give me any gifts. The only thing he gave me was that I can be annoying and talk someone's ear off. And I looked at that as a negative thing. But as an adult, I am realizing communication is actually something that more of us need to know how to do. we need to get better at talking to each other and just having difficult conversations. And I'm really good at talking. I'm great at meeting someone, and I want to get to know your story. And I love people, like genuinely. I don't have to try to be interested in people. I really like getting to know people. I would love to have people on the podcast and talk and hear stories and testimonies and different funny things, share life hacks, different, just whatever. Like, we're all doing life in this really messed up world, and we're trying our best for it to be the most effective life possible, to have an impact and to make a difference. And so, yeah, I think that this gift that God gave me was for a reason. I don't know why. And so, for years, I have suppressed this. I've suppressed what I felt like God was calling me to do. And I've talked to many people about it. I've talked to my friends. I've talked to family members. I've talked to church members. I talked to my pastor. And I assumed every one of those people would be like, no, don't do a podcast. But every single person said to me, oh, you should totally do that. That you'd be great at that. That's like right up your alley. That's so who you are. Like, you should totally do a podcast. And then I talked to my pastor, and I knew he'd be real with me. So I said, hey, what do you think about me starting a podcast? And he's like, well, you're definitely good at talking. And I said, yep, that's one thing I'm good at. But the other thing he said was, what do you feel like is holding you back from it? And I said, I'm afraid. I'm absolutely afraid. I'm afraid that I'll get too famous and people will notice me and be angry at me or come up to me in public. But I'm also afraid that I would do nothing and no one would notice me, and I would literally have 0 views for every one of my videos. And so both of those things was scary to me for some reason. Both like major sides. Like, I mean, the most likely it won't be this crazy of a like experience for me. I'm just a random person living in Michigan. But it was fear. Fear was the reason I wasn't doing it. End of story. And my pastor basically said to me, if fear is the only reason you're not doing something that you feel like God is calling you to do, then it is not a good enough reason. And I was like, yeah, yep. And then I didn't do it for another 2 years. Basically talked to him about this. Oh, it was probably a year ago. I talked to him about this. Still didn't do it for like another year. And you know what lit this fire inside of me was seeing Charlie Kirk. Yeah, it is. It's just the truth. Honestly, when our speech is trying to be attacked in that aggressive of a light, I am going to do the direct opposite. It made me so much more brave. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm literally not concerned about what anybody thinks about me. Am I going to show my kid's face? No. Am I going to share people's life stories without asking them, or like tell people, specific people in my life's name online? No. But I do not care what happens to me. In the Bible, it says, it is not death to die for a Christian. For me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. I get to go to heaven. So I am not concerned anymore about what people think about me. I'm not concerned if you disagree with me. I'm going to kindly and lovingly share the truth, just like Charlie Kirk did. And I'm not going to be worried about it. Now, I'm not going to always be political. Like, yes, probably sometimes politics will come up, because I am very strong in what I believe. Like, I do not back down on what I believe. Same thing with my faith. I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. God is the most important thing in my life. It's God, family, everything else. That's how it goes. And so those things are part of who I am, and they're going to be a part of my podcast, but it doesn't mean that you can't listen. There's something here for everyone. I love conspiracy theories. And also I love hearing ideas that are different than me. It makes you grow. To hear someone say something that you don't believe in and have proof to back it, it helps you to learn and to understand more why people are the way that they are. Why do you believe the way that you believe? Talking to each other, this is what Charlie Kirk said all the time. When we talk to each other, we don't have to have violence. The second we stop communicating with each other, that is when violence happens. And so I am not going to allow fear to control my life. I'm not going to stop doing something because I'm afraid of what people think, or if people will see me, or if no one sees me. I told God when I said I was going to start this, I said, God, I am praying over this podcast and I'm giving it to you. I'm not going to try to like promote it in crazy ways. I'm not going to try to like pay for sponsorships and like pay for different things so that it pops up and gets pushed to people. Like, I don't care. If you want this to become something, I'm giving it to you. You take control over it. It's for you. Like, I'm doing this because I feel like you have led me to do it. I don't know why, but I am blindly following. And hopefully it goes well. And if it doesn't, honestly, I'm having fun. So that's the big thing. And yeah. So anyway, back to my testimony. I was born in Massachusetts, and I was born to my mom and dad, who both were struggling pretty severely in the drug world. My dad was a drug dealer, very active drug dealer. He ended up getting arrested. And around 3 months postpartum, so I was about 3 months old, my mom found out she was pregnant again with my little brother. I did not know I had a little brother until I was 18. So my mom ended up putting him up for adoption. My dad was getting more increasingly violent, more abusive, and then he ended up getting arrested. So my mom brought the adoption papers to the jail and said, hey, I need you to sign this. I cannot let this baby also be affected by this type of life that we're living. I just need to let him go have a better life, a better opportunity. And so she put him up for adoption. She was actually able to choose who had him, who took him for adoption. And she actually was able to put him in a really amazing Christian home. When I was about 24, we ended up getting to meet my brother. He was an adult. He was of legal age at that point and was able to reach out to us. So it ended up being good, but obviously a very hard time. She was trying to escape this abusive home, ended up putting her son up for adoption, and then moved back in with my grandma and grandpa. My grandma and grandpa are amazing believers. They love Christ. They follow Jesus. They've raised all of their kids to follow Jesus. It's a really great testimony and such a beautiful story. But my mom just struggled. She was going through a hard time, a rebellious stage, and she ended up being with this guy who was terrible. So me and my mom moved back in with my grandma, and we lived there for a little bit. And my mom met my dad, who I grew up thinking was my biological father. I was very young when my mom left my real biological father. So I grew up thinking that this random man, not random, he was my dad. I grew up with him my whole life, but he was not my actual biological father. He was my stepdad. And I did not know that. So we are living for about 3 years, overall pretty good. So I'm about 4 now, right? My sister was born when I was 1. So she was having babies like fast, man. Like she had me. 3 months later, she was pregnant with my brother. 3 months after, or no, well, then she had my brother, put him up for adoption, and was pregnant with my sister before she was even married. Okay. So this was a quick, like she was like a baby factory at this point. She had me, had my sister very quickly after, and my dad's twin brother. So when I say my dad, I'm always going to be talking about my stepdad because I did not know that I had a different dad. So my dad's twin brother passed away. He was punched in the jaw. His jaw was broken, and it was a drug-related fight. Something happened. He was punched. They ended up chaining his jaw shut to let it heal properly. And when they do that, apparently they stick tubes down your nose or your throat to help you breathe. And they ended up suffocating him. And there was a malpractice lawsuit. It was terrible, absolutely awful. He passed away, left a son. My grandma was able to actually give that money to him in some capacity, so to help with his life and his future. But my dad and his twin brother were not under good terms when he passed away, and so led a spiral of addiction. He started drinking pretty severely, and became pretty violent quickly. Like it was a pretty quick progression from he was a normal guy, totally living out a normal life, and then boom, he was abusive, he was violent, all of these things. Now, when we were about 5 years old, we moved into a duplex, which is a house attached to another house. I don't know why I'm explaining that. You're an adult, you can Google it. But we are basically living in this duplex for about a year. I think we were 4 when I moved because I know I was 5-ish, almost 6 when this happened. But basically, my dad was getting worse. He was becoming a lot more abusive. He ended up hurting his back and was given drugs from the doctors and then became addicted to drugs. So now he is progressively getting worse and worse, much more violent, much more aggressive. It's starting to trickle into me now. At first it was my mom. Now he's becoming very verbally abusive to me. When I was 5, maybe 6, somewhere in that realm, there was a boy who lived next door, and he basically played hide and seek with me. He was 16, I was 5, and he ended up molesting me. I did not tell anyone except for my mom, who basically within the next within very quick amounts of time, we were moving out of that house. She called my grandpa. I don't know what she told him. I don't think she told him what happened to me, but I do know that we were out of that house fast, and away from the kid who was 16 who did that. That was a terrible situation. My life started getting progressively worse. We moved out of the house. We're like, this is going to be great. It's going to be a new start. My dad was working. There was a lot going on, but my dad, because of him hurting his back, was getting onto stronger and stronger drugs. The doctors were cutting him off of legal drugs, and he was getting onto street drugs. We found methamphetamine in his, crystal meth, basically, in his pocket. We found all sorts of stuff. He was doing crack. He was doing all the way down to heroin. I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure he was into IV heroin, but I'm not positive when that started. So, the drug addiction got worse, and so did violence. So now what once was just him doing things to my mom quickly led to him doing stuff to me. And I always tried my best to protect my sisters. It was a terrible situation, and I know my sister still heard things, but overall I would try my hardest to keep her away from it for as long as I could. There was a point where you just really can't do anything, and I was a kid too. Because my dad was so addicted to drugs and drinking, he was drinking about 2 packs of beer a day at one point, and still doing drugs. He was bringing home no money. I mean, my mom was trying to survive with 2 kids. She ended up having a 3rd baby when I was 16. She was trying to survive and feed all of us on about $20 to $50 tops each week. There was times when our heat was out. There was times where the electricity was off. There was times where we had 0 food in our house, legitimately 0 food. Like, we would open the cabinets and there was nothing, and we'd go stay at grandma's for a while. I can't imagine the emotional toll as a mom watching your kids go through this. My mom was very emotionally, she struggled a lot. She was depressed. She would go through these stages where she just wasn't herself at all. And I understand why. I mean, she had a terrible, terrible situation going on at home. My dad got progressively more violent, and it led down into to us. And he would throw books, and he would start screaming and swearing. He called my best friend terrible names, just awful things. Like, it got worse and worse and worse, to the point where I was 16 and I was in my kitchen and my dad was choking me. And I literally remember thinking in my head, oh my goodness, I could actually die. Like, this could be my last moment on earth. And I remember he grabbed me tightly at first, and then he started to let go, because I think I could see he was just not even there, but I think he could see what he was doing in some capacity through his completely high self. But I remember quietly saying to him, get your hands off my neck. And he looked at me and kind of like stumbled back, and I tried to like push him away, and then I just ran out. I was in the pantry hiding under some cabinets. My mom came up. I heard a lot of screaming, smashes, swearing, pretty common in our house. It was a common thing. And then I remember the next day bringing it up to my mom, and my mom said, he didn't choke you. I don't know if this was complete disassociation. I don't know what this was, but it was terrible. And I remember thinking and saying to my mom, I'm going to move out if you don't kick him out. It's me or him. And she said, I'll help you pack. And so I left. I moved out. I moved in with my aunt. I lived with her for a year, went to college. I ended up meeting my husband, who is the absolute love of my life. We have 4 beautiful children. I love him to death. I can't imagine. He has been through so much with me, so many panic attacks, so many anxiety attacks, so many hard things that I've had to get over as an adult, going through what I went through. And he's been there through every one of them, lovingly, gently being there, patient, kind. He's so sweet with our kids. And so I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that I didn't allow my life to become a statistic. I wasn't just another person that fell into addiction and to all the things that I could have. I was able to get through that stage. I remember there were still moments during college. I came back home, and my dad was really, really, really violent again. He kicked my dog across the room and broke a bone in his leg. There was so much going on, and it was so insane. And I remember one night I grabbed a glass of wine, a bottle of wine, and started drinking it. Never had alcohol in my life. I drank pretty much all of it, a good amount. And I had a bottle of pills in my hand. And I was considering doing the worst thing that you could do. And I was so upset. I was sitting in a bathtub with no tub, just sitting in it, empty, no water, fully clothed, drinking this bottle of wine. And my cousin called. He never called. He was one of my best friends. We grew up together. He's literally 2 weeks younger than me. And he called me out of the blue. Never did that ever. He would always text me, but he called me. And I answered the phone and I just started crying and broke down to him. And I said, I legitimately cannot do this anymore. I can't. I cannot do it. And he stayed on the phone with me for the rest of the night. We slept with our phones on our heads so he could hear me breathing. And we woke up the next morning and I went to his house and we played Call of Duty and we just talked. But that moment was a pivotal moment in my life. There were a few times where I knew God was protecting me for a purpose. And I told God over and over and over, if you are going to allow this to be my testimony, if you are going to allow this to be my story, then please do not make it be there for nothing. Use my testimony for something to help others come to know you, to make an impact in somebody's life. And I cannot tell you how many times God has shown me that my story was not pointless. It was not for nothing. My story and my testimony is there for a reason. And I have had so many people that I've met tell me, I heard your story and this. I heard what happened to you and that. And it's been amazing. I met my closest friends because I shared my testimony on my church website. One of my best friends, who's like my sister, who's coming over today with her baby, she is literally like a sister to me. And I met her through the fact that she saw my testimony story. And she had a very similar testimony, but she hadn't told anyone. And so it's amazing that God can use terrible, dark, evil things and turn it for good. And that's what he does. It's amazing. He takes the broken people, the people who are like David, a little boy, people who are weak, who have sin problems. I mean, I think about David all the time because this guy was crazy. He literally saw a naked woman bathing on a roof and took her and killed her husband and then was like, whoops, now I'm going to take you for my own. And he literally is in the line of Jesus. Like, that is amazing. That God can redeem the smallest person, the weakest person, the person with that seems that they have the least effect. And so that's exciting to me. And I'm so excited to finally share my testimony. I have been holding off. I've been telling God, this is not it, like I'm not the one. But this past week specifically has been a hard week. I think it's been a hard week for everybody. The entire world is feeling a spiritual weight that is on all of us. And the death of Charlie Kirk, it was not just a death. It was not just a murder. It was a spiritual attack. And I think all of us can feel that. And I want to say this. God has spoken to me more this week than he has ever in my life. And again, God doesn't, come down in a thunderous roar and speak in that way, right? But I was listening to my Alexa, playing some worship music, as I do, because I struggle with depression. I do. I struggle a lot with depression. And so I play Alexa and I play it loudly. And I was blaring some worship music and the song Constant came on. And the chorus, or I guess maybe the bridge to the last bit of it, it says, you say, be still, and the waves obey your voice. I will not fear, for I know you're in control. Or you're with me, Lord, sorry. And then it says, you're never going to let me drown. You're never going to let me down, because you are constant. And this song, it just repeats it. You say, be still. I'm not going to sing, but so good. Okay, it's going, and it's like so powerful. I'm like, wow, that's so good. I need to open my Bible. I opened my Bible. I haven't read my Bible in a while, okay? We've gone through a very hard year. Very hard, very hard. And I haven't opened my Bible for a while. I listen to my church every Sunday. I've been trying to pray. That's one thing I've been actively trying to do, to have faith to keep praying. And I opened my Bible. There was no page flipping. I opened it directly to Psalm 77. And it is literally David pouring out to God. I am crying to you, God. Can you hear me? I'm begging for you to give me any type of relief. These are the feelings I'm having after this assassination, after all of the stuff that's gone on this year in our friend group and in the world. And literally, I'm reading this verse, and at the end, it talks about you made a way through the Red Sea when there was no path. Nobody could see a path, but you made a path. And the verbiage, it was talking about a storm, the same thing. You say, be still, and the waves obey your voice. Like, it was so clear to me. And maybe I sound like a crazy person to all you unsaved people, but like, dude, this was God talking to me on a very deep level that I haven't felt ever in my life. I have never felt that sure that this was God. And so after the Charlie Kirk thing, I talked to God and I said, I'm doing this, God. I am not going to be afraid anymore. I know you're going to make a path for me if this is the right thing. If no one listens, if no one hears this, that's okay. I'm totally fine. But if my testimony can affect one person for the kingdom of heaven, if one more soul can be saved, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actively go out of my way to share the gospel because we don't have a lot of time left. This world is evil, it's sick, it's dark, and it needs a savior. And so I'm going to share that testimony. I'm not going to be worried about it. But the second thing that happened, the next day, I ordered a Charlie Kirk t-shirt. I've gotten a few different t-shirts, and I'm excited for them to come in the mail. But I got one that says, "Here am I, Lord, send me." And I open up to Isaiah and I'm reading Isaiah and I'm just praying, God, please show me something in this scripture that is your voice again. That was so amazing yesterday. I want to feel it again. I want to hear your voice again. And the verse came up. I don't remember what it exactly is, but it was the verse, "Here am I, Lord, send me." And I'm like, okay, again, if you're not a Christian, that probably just sounds like, okay, that's a good coincidence. But to me, I could feel the presence of God. I can feel him saying, go out there and do it. And you know what? If no one hears, that's okay. Like, I'm all right with just knowing that I obeyed God, that I fully took that step. But I don't want to live my life. I don't want to face God someday. Face God someday. Wow, that was a mouthful. And I don't want him to just be ashamed of what I did on this earth. I want him to say, well done, my good and faithful servant. And so this is me going out of my way, taking an active step to do what I feel like God is calling me to do. And I am just giving it to God. I don't want fame. I don't want money from this. I don't want anything. I just want to glorify God. I want to share the gospel. I want to show that you can have such a broken, evil, terrible upbringing. I mean, everything that could have happened in my childhood happened. I was molested. We had no food. My dad was abusive. Like, anything bad you can think of, we went through. But God never, ever let me down. He never let me drown, just like the song. He pulled me through all of this, and I know that it was for a reason, and I am not going to let that testimony go to waste. So here I am. This is me. Send me, Lord. I'm going to do my best. If no one hears it, that's okay, because it's not for people. It is for God. It's for the glory of God, and I'm so excited about it. I want to have so many people on. I already have a list. I want my pastor to come on. He's amazing. I love him. I have a friend, Sherry Sweeney. When I was going through a lot of suicidal thoughts and a lot of struggles hormonally postpartum, she was amazing. She was such a blessing to me. She poured into me so much. I want to have her on. I want to have my uncle on, because me and my uncle agree on a lot of stuff, but we also have some great debates. So I don't know if he would do that, but I'm interested to ask him. I just want to talk about faith. I want to have people who don't believe in the gospel on, and I want to talk about it with them and say, why do you not believe? And ask them questions and ask what they believe in. I think that's so important. Talking and having conversations and relationships is the only way that we're going to be able to spread the gospel and share the good news of Jesus. And so this is my way of opening that door and saying, God, here I am, send me. I want to do this. I want to live a life that's honoring to you. I want to tell others about you. And so this is my first step. This is my first podcast. I'm so excited. I'm excited to share my testimony. I'm just excited to tell more of my story, because it's a lot. That was a very abridged version of what my life has been. But God has held me through every part of it. He's never, ever let me down. And I know that there has been days where I've doubted it and I've said, God, what's going on? I don't get it. I'm angry at you. I don't understand why you're letting this happen. I don't understand why my life has been such a roller coaster. But he always shows me, with time, with prayer, with reading his word, that he's still there. He is constant. He loves us so much that he sent his son to take every ounce of sin and pain and suffering and put it on himself. He took all of the judgments for every single sin on the earth upon himself and died on the cross. And 3 days later, He rose again. He defeated death. He defeated those sins so that anybody who believes, anyone who calls upon the name of the Lord, accepts him into your heart, you are saved. You get to spend eternity with the creator of heaven and earth. You get to spend eternity in peace with no more suffering, no more sin, no more shame, nothing. Everything for eternity in perfect harmony with God. And that is amazing. And I heard this saying, I heard it through Wes Huff, but I know that he said that, I'm pretty sure it was C.S. Lewis that said it, but hell is locked from the inside. You decide where you spend your eternity. And the Bible says that every single person has the ability or the chance to hear the truth. Every single person in their lifetime has a moment where they are faced with a choice. Do you accept Christ or do you choose the world? Do you choose sin? And that is free will. God does not want a bunch of people who are forced to be with him for eternity. He wants people who chose him and fought the good fight. And this is the thing that we need to really be clear on. The Bible says in this world, there is going to be trouble. If you're a Christian, it's not going to be easy. This prosperity gospel that people keep passing out is not real. Okay? It's going to be persecution, suffering, struggling, the loss of friends and loved ones. Things are not going to be perfect in this life, but that's okay because it says, take heart, I have overcome the world. And you have an eternity of reward that you get to look forward to someday. This life is not it. This life is not it. And the longer you live in it, I used to just love life. No matter how hard my life was, actually, people would say, why are you so happy for the testimony that you have? I've had a lot of people say when they met me, oh, I thought you were kind of like a dumb, kind of like, like a little dumb blonde. I was blonde for a while. I'm back to my natural color. But yeah, people used to be like, I thought you were kind of like a ditzy, just like, airhead. But your testimony is crazy. I did not know that you went through that. And that used to make me angry. But I honestly think that is just like how much God has worked in my life. I have not allowed the terrible things that have happened in my life to affect me. Yes, I do have mental health issues. I struggle with anxiety. I struggle with depression. I struggle with OCD. A lot of that has gotten better with my healthy eating and my active lifestyle that I have and trying to live a very healthy and clean life. But I still struggle. Mental health is a real thing. And I think it's something that makes us legitimately rely on God every day. So yes, I have had a rough story, but I know that God is working in it and using it for good. And so I'm going to keep on talking about it. I'm going to keep on sharing the gospel. And I'm so excited to start this podcast because it's not just me trying to find fame. It's not me. I really don't want people seeing me. Like, honestly, I love people. I love talking, but I really don't love the idea of everyone in the world being able to see my face. But I do know that God is calling me to this for some reason. Again, maybe it's only so 2 people accept him. Maybe that could be it. But I just want to answer with, here I am, Lord, send me. I don't want to be that person that goes to heaven someday and he says, dude, I said so many times to you, I put that on your heart so many times for you to start doing something, to share the gospel, to share the good news, and you never did it. And so here I am, Lord, send me. I'm ready for it. I'm fired up. This whole past week has been an attack, from a very spiritual attack, and Christians are waking up and realizing this world is sick and we need to share the gospel, because the more that accept Christ, the better this world can be. The darker we get into the abyss of sin, things are just going to keep getting worse. And in general, things are going to get worse. The Bible in Revelation says things are going to get worse and then people are going to get saved. That's how it works. Persecution leads to more salvation. I don't know why people don't learn from their mistakes. Honestly, if they really wanted Christianity to die out, they would just let things get better, right? Help us forget about God because, oh, it's all so good. You don't need God, right? But no, they keep on trying to persecute us. And I'm telling you, every time one Christian dies, 10,000 more step up in its place. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited about the growth that the church had last week after Charlie was assassinated. I am devastated about Charlie. I want to make that very clear. I've cried probably 7 times, and he doesn't know me, never got to meet him. I watched all his videos, but he knew nothing about me. Like, I knew nothing. I was not in any way a relative to him, a friend to him, but I loved him. And he, I think, symbolized for a lot of us, especially the younger generation, he symbolized for us truth telling and like the ability to share the gospel, to share the truth, to be loud and proud and vocal about what you believe. And I think when that was literally killed from us, it was literally in front of our eyes, taken from us, I think it awoke something inside of us that, wow, we really are under spiritual attack and we need to like get on it. It did the opposite of make me afraid. It pushed me towards this. I do want to say I'm so devastated about his family. I can't imagine going through that. I'm so sorry for his wife and his kids. I'm not going to bring it up every time. I know I posted a video and I talked about Charlie Kirk a lot, but this is not going to be an every time thing. But I really, truly can't imagine going through what she and her children just went through. I am so sorry. I'm so devastated for you. I do know that you get to look forward to seeing him in heaven one day, and that is so exciting. And I know that she's probably never going to see this video, and that's okay. But I will say, God takes things that you meant for evil and he turns it for good. So the world means it for evil, but God can turn it into something amazing. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year. I'm excited to see what he's going to do with this podcast. Again, it might be nothing, but it's not about the views for me. It's about following what Christ has called me to do. And so I am doing that. I am excited. Next week, I would like to try to have a guest. So if that is a possibility, I will try to have a guest on next week. I'm trying to figure out who it's going to be and how to mic both of us because I have this one microphone that I plugged into my phone. We are going very retro. This is not a fancy podcast. I'm doing it on a budget because I'm not trying to make money from it. So I'm also trying to not pour too much money into it while still having a good quality video. So I'm excited about this. I think that this podcast is going to be called the MadCast. I talked with a lot of my friends. My name is Madison. So MadCast is what I'm thinking. And I did make this little intro video, so I'm going to show you it. And then I will hopefully see you next week with a guest. So thank you for watching. The videos will probably be longer than whatever. This is like 40 minutes. I know you can't see this. This is where my little iPhone has a 36:55 mark, meaning it's been 36 minutes and 9 seconds. It's going to hopefully be longer than that, but it feels very weird to talk to myself in my room to a camera for very long periods of time. So this is going to be a short one. I'm also running out of nap time. And I'm trying to fit this into nap time because I'm also trying to actively fight against being on my phone too much, which is another temptation. When I have depression, I instantly go on my phone and I start scrolling, doom scrolling to be more specific. And I don't want to do that. I am trying to be in the world, but not of the world. So I'm trying to like tell people about Jesus, do all the things without being on my phone too much. So nap time and bedtime are the only time I'm going to be posting. And so you'll probably see during like 12 o'clock and then 7 to like 10, I have a lot of content coming out on my TikTok. I have a lot of content coming out on my YouTube. Other than that, there will not be content. It's going to be like afternoons and night times because I have kids and they're my first mission field to tell them about Jesus, to raise them up, to follow Christ, and to be bold in their faith. I'm so excited. I'm homeschooling my kids, except for my daughter Olivia. She's going to school this year. She does have a dyslexia, I'm pretty sure, so I cannot teach. I don't know how to teach you how to read. In that instance, we're trusting professionals for that one. But otherwise, we're homeschooling our kids. As soon as Livy can read, I'm bringing her back to homeschooling. I'm really excited to teach them about the gospel and to teach them about politics and faith and all of the things that I want them to be strong in. I want them to be able to defend their faith. I don't want them just to be like, oh, I don't know, I believe in God because my mom told me to and I don't want to go to hell. No. I want them to be so confident in their faith. I want them to know without a shadow of a doubt who God is, why they're on this earth. And so I'm very excited. There's a lot going on in my life, but that is not going to stop me from following what God wants me to do. I know I talk fast, and I also know this isn't the best microphone, so I'm going to try to get some things going to make this a little bit better quality. I have a techie friend. I'm going to ask her a few questions about it, but overall, this is my first podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Please follow, like, and subscribe, all the annoying things that every vlogger and videoer person says to do. And share this with a friend if they need to hear the gospel, if you think this is a great testimony to just show them. I know that some people don't have a testimony like that. They don't have a really dark past. And sometimes that makes Christianity seem like, well, you just have had a good life, so you chose this. I did not have a good life. I had a very hard life, and I have decided to still follow Jesus, to praise him in the good times and in the bad times. And so, yeah, please share this if it helped you or was interesting to you. It's not always going to be my content. Sometimes it's going to be really just silly girl talk stuff. Sometimes it's going to be political. Sometimes it's going to be spiritual battles and talking about schooling and teaching your kids. And sometimes it's going to be crunchy stuff. I make my own skincare, people. I am a tallow girly through and through. So just don't come in with any expectations. We love conspiracy theories. We love everything here. And so I'm excited. I hope that you guys enjoy the MadCast. And if I can, I will insert my little entry video here. If I can't, at the end, I'll put it on a little short. I'm still learning. Okay, guys, don't judge. Anyway, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and God bless. Bye.